Hardwick, England.
Yes.
And you had 67 missions.
Yes.
You were shot down on 3 of them.
Yes.
You were prisoner of war for 14 months. A lot of bullshit, if you ask me. Let me clear this out of the lease so you don't get the papers mixed up.
Oh, that, I don't have that many.
I thought you were bringing out a whole book.
This is something I tried to avoid as long as I could.
Yeah.
I finally stuck it.
Yeah, you did. Well, my name is John Bimson. And do you have to have this?
Yes.
Huh?
All right.
Hold it up there. Hold it up. There you go. Right there. That's good.
Are you ready, Dick? Have you got my rest side?
You're going.
It all began on Sunday afternoon, December 7th, 1941. And I was napping following an arduous stint as in this choir, church choir that day. And my reverie was interrupted by H.V. Kaltenborn announcing the attack on Pearl Harbor. And of course, I was furious. And so then, the next morning, as I was standing on the back platform on my way to work with a bunch of other fellows, and we were all, by that time, we knew about the attack and the extent of it, and so we were very much upset, and we were all telling about what we would do if we could get a hold of that enemy. And so then when I got down to the office, I was working for General Mills as an office boy and a bank messenger, just out of high school. And I called the Marine recruiting office and said that I was ready. And I said, oh, I just wasn't ready for that chuckle that they gave me. And they said, you better come down here and find out all about it. And so I was glad that I didn't. I reneged on that one and went back to the office and found a poster there that said, you too can be an aviation cadet. And so I went through all of the indignities of Fort Snelling, standing around all day naked. So anyway, after a few months, it really took some time to get going on this thing, because they didn't bring you out right away. And I went down. It took some time to get be called after the initiating the formalities of induction. I dreamed of the famous airfields I had read about, and during my all-field years of aviation interest and model airplane building. Anybody ever build model airplanes? Each day about mealtime, I'd phone home to find out if I'd been called. And one day, my mother told me that she had gotten the letter, and I said, open it, please. And so it said that Private Bimson was to go to Jefferson Barracks, Missouri. And I said, what? Not Santa Ana? Not aviation cadet? And anyway, I'd foot slogged around in the most viscous mud that I've ever seen. And
what month and year?
pardon me?
What month and year?
This was 43.
February?
Yeah. Were you there too?
Yeah.
Isn't that awful? God, it was awful. Anyway, we were there around 6 weeks, and then we were there. The train rumor was that we were that they had called up too many men into the air service, and what they were going to do, they could use us better in North Africa. This was the train rumor. And we were sort of crushed by that, but it turned out that it was wrong, and we were called to the, what was it, college training detachment. And mine was Iowa Wesleyan College in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Gee, that was a funny little place. And we were put into the women's, I think it was their, well, anyway, it lifted our spirits a little bit anyway to get there, and we had, physics and theory of flight and 10 hours in a Piper Cub. And then on we went to, I'm not reading this, I just tried to get a little.
You're doing fine.
I'll be glad when it's over. How much time is left? Good. I've got the notes, so if somebody will come up here and read them, I'll take it.
Well, we got an hour of tape, so, you know.
Oh, jeez. Finally, we were loaded into a train, and we went out to Santa Ana, California, and went through pre-flight. And then I went on to Mesa del Rey in King City, California for primary flight training. And I got stuck back a few weeks because of sore throat, maybe strep. And then I came back and soloed on the 23rd of September, 1941. It was kind of an experience. 43, what did I say?
43.
Yeah. And then I went on to Taft, California for basic flying school. And within a week I was soloing and I was flying and having a good time. Finally got up enough nerve to do a snap roll. The plane, of course, was the old Vultee vibrator. I suppose some of you fellows who are pilots remember that one. Well, anyway, the sad thing was that what they did was to have you do a little navigational under the hood bit. And unfortunately, I was a little bit immature, and I didn't believe the instruments. And the seat of my pants told me that I was turning left, and I didn't believe the instruments, but it did not amuse a Czech pilot. And so I was reclassified. And that was the last flight of my basic flying school. And I was sent back to Santa Ana and then on to our good friends in Las Vegas, and then to Albuquerque, New Mexico for Bombardier navigation school. And then to Pueblo, Colorado, after we had completed that for overseas training unit. And I got assigned to a B-24 group there. And then does anybody look? Finally, we were left for our port of embarkation, which was actually at Topeka, Kansas. That's where we left for England. And we flew to, let's see. Well, we picked up this shiny new B-24J that's still wallowed, pitched, yawed, and rolled. was new. At least the engines didn't wheeze and snort. The takeoff occurred some 3 years after Pearl Harbor. Can't believe that I was in that training for that length of time. We landed in Goose Bay, Labrador, Reykjavik, Iceland, and finally Swansea, Wales. And then we gave up our nice new shiny plane and were put on a train and went up to Hardwick in Norfolk County, just south of Norwich. It was a small little town, but it isn't too small for a pub. And that night we went to the pub, and there was a young girl who said to me, she said, "Are you going overseas?" And I thought I was macho getting this far. And so within a couple of days we were scheduled for flight, and I spent the night, or a good portion of the night, underneath the covers with a Bible, preparing for the worst, and a flashlight. And then when we got out there to the plane, and the next morning we had to load the bombs, and the bombs were there on dollies, and the belts for the machine guns were there. And we loaded, and then we told them it was a stand down, and so we had to unload and that was it. But then finally the day came that we took off to bomb marshalling yards and railroad centers. And we went into the briefing room, and it looked sort of like 12 o'clock high. I don't know whether you remember that one. And here was this great big map on the front with yarn denoting or demarking the extent of the east and west movement, and there was this corridor in between the lines, and it was so narrow and little, and I said, "What's to bomb?" But anyway, I guess they found some. And after all the training, we dropped off of the lead Bombardier, because, so we just toggled, and that was a job that the others were doing. And so they couldn't use us where we weren't using the bomb site, just the lead Bombardier. March was pretty bad, and that was unpleasant weather-wise, and there were many stand-downs. And we were feeling deep in the viscera, though, that our tour was coming to an end. And April beamed with some good weather and passes, and we were in London on at Rainbow Corners on the 6th of April, and that was the time that President Roosevelt died, and we were all saddened by that. And then there was Mussolini had been killed, and we had gotten all of the details out of Stars and Stripes, including the pictures. And then Hitler committed suicide in early May, so we were all ready to go. It had been intimated that we were destined to the Pacific, and I was spending a lot of time learning Loran and brushing up on Celestial and some of those other things. And I went down and spent a couple of days in Bexel-on-Sea in Sussex with my aged aunts, and I had titled this thing as how I concluded World War II in the E.T. Oval. And so I was sitting on the Channel shore, watching the planes going up and down the channel, and impressing the ants that I I knew the names of the planes. And so that's the way I concluded the war, because at that time we heard that this is where they had capitulated. And we spent the next few days ferrying the ground personnel down the Rhine at treetop level. And I remember especially seeing Cologne, and it looked like the sun was shining on a sea of diamonds, and it was all broken glass. It was just terrible. And just one lone guy going down that street on a bicycle. And everything began moving fast from this point on. And we loaded up and in reverse order went back to the United States through, again, we went through Reykjavik and Labrador and landed at Bangor, Maine. And there's a picture for anybody who's might be interested in seeing the old roaring lion that we painted up a bit. Well, anyway, I'm very sorry. I conclude my remarks now.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say when you got out of Fort Snelling, you joined a group out there that said, hell no, I won't go